Okay, what I need you to do is write down this sentence at the top of page 24, and then we're going to talk through these examples, okay? Okay, so on Friday, we did that hula hoop activity as an introduction to, hey, this is where we're going. Okay. What we need to be able to do today, we need to be able to make a scatter plot. We need to be able to read a scatter plot, okay? And we need to be able to determine what kind of relationship the data has. Now, I want you to write this word underneath. Sometimes you're going to hear it called correlation, okay? But we have three options for what kind of relationship or what kind of correlation we're going to see. And that warm-up activity I had you do this morning, or I guess not this morning, but at the beginning of class, was to help guide you to kind of see what categories we're going to have, okay? So if I'm graphing a set of data that I have collected, it is not going to be perfect. That's part of collecting data, okay? But it's going to resemble a line, maybe, or maybe there's no relationship at all, okay? So if there is a positive relationship, then we have a trend that as X gets bigger, so does Y. And if X and Y both get bigger, then we have this trend in the positive slope direction. Okay. But if our Y values get smaller while X is getting bigger, then we're going to have a trend in the negative direction. It doesn't look exactly like a line, but it looks line-ish with negative slope. Page 24. And then if there's no correlation, then it just looks like we put pepper on our food. Okay. All right. So we need to be able to determine these relationships, whether we have the graph or not. Okay. So I want you to think about this. We're going to go backwards. We're going to do number 3 first. Okay. The more days we go into fall versus the number of leaves on the trees. So as the days increase in the fall, what's true about what's happening to the leaves on the trees? They're falling, which means the number is decreasing. So as we go throughout the fall, our leaves are falling. We have a negative relationship. Okay. Now remember, data is not perfect. Okay. Oh, is this your guys's? I have to figure out who's missing a treat. All right. The number of passengers on a plane versus the number of suitcases. So as the number of passengers increase, what is going to be true about our suitcases? They also increase. So we're going to have a positive relationship. Okay. Now, what about the size of a house versus the size of its lot? And what I mean by lot, I mean like your yard. How big a yard you have.
No.
Why?
I don't know. It says the size of the lot, and it doesn't say anything else.
Well, the size of the house versus the size of the yard. Okay? The bigger the house, the bigger the yard. The smaller the house, the smaller the yard. No. Well, not necessarily. Some people live on like 5 acres. Right? Some people have no yard, even with a big house. Some people have a small house, and there's no relationship. Okay? Okay, so then we need to be able to create a graph and be able to determine the correlation, okay, or the relationship. So the number of hours a student has studied for a test and their grade. So we have hours studied and their grade. So those are going to be my X and Y. So the first thing we need to do is we need to say, okay, since X is hours, I need to come over here and write hours for my X-axis and the grade for my Y-axis. Do you think it's possible that we'll find a relationship between how much you've studied versus the grade you get on a test? I think it's possible, okay? Now, I'm going to label hours 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is 8 the most somebody studied? All right, I'm going to stop at 8. Now, we could count 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, all the way to 100. But I really only have numbers from 45 to 100, right? So I'm going to cut my y-axis and start at 45 and count by 5s until I reach 100. That way it's easier to graph. Is that okay? I could wear your shoes. I think I could wear your shoes. What size are they?
Those are small. Those are like 8. I'm like 9.5 now.
Okay, so now we need to plot all these points. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to plot 380, 380, and then I'm going to say, okay, I already plotted it, and I'm going to just keep track of the ones I've plotted. That way I don't miss something. Okay, so you're going to plot those. I'm going to plot them. Then we're going to make a decision. Okay, 590. 245, 6. So they asked 9 people in the class, how long did you study for this test? And they kept track of their grade. we have those 9 data points graphed. What kind of relationship is there? Positive, negative, or none? Positive. It's not perfect, but we have a linear trend with a positive slope. Okay, that's kind of what we expected, right? We expected there to maybe be a relationship between how long you study and what grade you get.
Could you still make like a line? It would just go like up and down.
So a line has to be straight, okay? So tomorrow we're going to talk about what's called a line of best fit, where we draw a straight line that approximates the points, okay? All right, let's make this one the number of hours spent and the money they spent at a mall. Any thoughts here?
X is hours and Y is
Okay, so we have hours and dollars. Okay, now we have a range from 15 to 115. So we're going to have to count by something other than 1 anyway, and we're as low as 15. So maybe I just count by 15s. 0, 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, 105, 120, and call it good. Is that okay? Okay, so now each of us need to take the time to plot these coordinates. Be as close as you can to where they need to be. What do you think about our data? Does it have a relationship? I heard a bunch of mumbles. Does it look like we put salt and pepper on our mashed potatoes? Yeah, it does. There is no relationship. It's not trending in a line. This is it. Okay. All right. I want you to turn your eyes over to number 8. So number 8, the graph is already there. But what we need to be able to do is we need to be able to read the graph. Okay? So I'm going to go to C first, and we'll go back to A. What is the relationship? Why does Landon say negative? Why, Sammy? Okay? Okay, we're falling, right? If we go from left to right, we're falling. Okay? It's not a perfect line, but we have a linear trend. Okay? Now, I want you to notice that down here on the x-axis, it's the year. Okay? So, I don't see anything right here. What is right here?
07.
That's like 07. What would be right here?
11.
011, he says. Okay. Over here is the stock price. And look, dollars per share. Okay. Now, this is 10, this is 20. What would be right here? 15. Okay, good. So, in part A, what is the approximate stock price in 2015? Well, we got to go to 2015, which would be right here. Okay. Okay, there's my dot. Now, it's not on one of the grid lines, so we have to approximate, which is why it's an approximate. Okay. What would you call that number? 21, 22. I would accept both answers. I would probably even accept 23, even though I don't think it is. Okay. But I'm going to write 22. And what would be the label for my answer of 22? Ah, look at this right here. Dollars per share. Okay. Next, I want to know the stock price. What year the stock price is $35 per share. So now I need to go to the y-axis and look for 35. Do you see? How many dots are at 35? It looks like there are 2 dots at 35. One of them is here at 2010, and the other is 2012. Raise your hand if you were born in 2010. A lot of young people in here, okay. Okay. Do you think you can do that? You can't do this? No, Kaylee says no. Okay. Oh my gosh. You don't get it?
No, I do.
Oh.